Boston Cannons Game of the Week is powered by Boston Sports Performance Center, where performance has no limits. BSPC is a premier sports performance, physical therapy, and sports medicine center serving the Boston and Metro West communities.
Hi, Cannons fans. Sean Cork, head coach of the Boston Cannons, going back into the vault 2014 against the Ohio Machine. This squad was led by then head coach John Tucker, Hall of Fame player out of Johns Hopkins University. He had this team rolling on all cylinders, offensively, defensively. We'll see you back here at halftime for the second half.
Oh my goodness, what a goal!
And Chris Eck getting set to face off Evan for Boston. Chris Eck, arguably the top face-off man in the league.
He's done a really nice job. He's coming off a fantastic game against Chesapeake where he dominated the X, had 16 ground balls, albeit in a loss. Eck, along with Greg Gorenly and the two guys vying for that Team USA face-off position. O'Brien's been better of late, though, and Carrero will get the first look.
Chris Eck last week was absolutely superb, 24 out of 35, as Ohio will have possession to begin. Bobby Datillo has the ball. He'll work it around the arc as they go far side to Marcus Holman. He'll be defended by Mitch Belisle. Belisle from Cornell. They work it behind the net. Shot goes off the stick of a Cannon defender, scooped up by Jordan Burke. And one thing about Boston this year, Evan, as a flag flies quickly, it's going to be a man-up advantage, looks like, for Boston. But the thing about the Cannons this year, their defense is much improved.
It's been much better than last year where there was a lot of breakdowns away from the ball. They haven't been at their best the past 2 weeks, though. I thought in Chesapeake, obviously, they dealt with a lot of man down after an illegal stick penalty. But the attention to detail needs to tune back up because earlier in the year they were holding teams under 10, which is unheard of at this level.
Will Manny has had a terrific year for Boston, one of their better offensive players. He has the ball, and Manny is diminutive, but boy, is he athletic. He finds Kevin Buchanan now. Buchanan inside the arc, trying to dodge to the near side to Ryan Boyle. Boyle, a steadying influence on attack. Great pass inside as Buchanan's shot goes wide, and that's kind of an interesting occasion because Kevin Buchanan doesn't miss much.
Oh, he shot about north of 40% this season. Our keys for Boston, you mentioned the team defense. It has been better, but I think the last 2 weeks they've sort of returned to the norm a bit. Decision-making, and this covers all areas of the field. Turnovers, making sure your stick is correct in terms of legality. We ran into that last week against Chesapeake. And attack production. The midfield has been dominant in recent weeks. Manny, Boyle, and whoever's running that third attack spot, whether it be Berger, Buchanan, they need to pile the numbers. The balance has to be there for Boston.
Man up after a slashing penalty against Ohio as Paul Rabel will work it up top. And he finds Boyle. Shot just goes wide, and Boston regains possession.
It's a good look at Rob Emery, the rookie out of UVA. He has an extremely hard shot with that right hand. He had 2 goals in the Chesapeake loss, finding his confidence as a rookie.
Rabel to Emery. I talked to Emery before the game. I said, "Are you starting tonight?" He said, "Nah." Sure enough, he's starting. He will be our halftime interview feature as Ohio has it. Machine with a fluid offensive attack. They've scored 92 goals thus far. That's third in the league. They've also given up 82. Our Brian keys to the game for Ohio, Evan.
Well, we saw Bobby Datillo to start the game. He's making his first appearance as I've seen from Ohio, and they've sort of gone by committee at that position. They just want to hover around 50%. Goaltending. At times, Brian Phipps has been great. He sort of has taken that job away from Scotty Rogers. And deal with Kevin Buchanan. He's consistently produced in each game. Have to have an answer for him.
Harrison's shot goes wide, and Kyle Harrison is a linchpin in the midfield for them. His 6th year out of Johns Hopkins, 14 goals, 4 assists, 23 shots on goal. Now Steele Stanwyck behind the cage as Belisle eyes him.
It's interesting. Boston's decided to put a short stick on Steele Stanwyck Eric Martin, former long pole, they don't respect Steele as a dodger to score. He's known as a feeder. His numbers reflect that.
19 assists, tied for second in the league with Paul Rabel. Burke distributes to Brody Merrill, 6-time Defender of the Year. Kyle Sweeney comes to the near side to Ryan Boyle. Now Berger, who had four goals last week. Rabel takes it up top. 38 to shoot for the Cannons. Buchanan. Rabel to Berger. Rabel double teamed. Deft move, and a shot goes wide. But Paul Rabel, known as a 2-point threat, but the Cannons this year only have 1 2-pointer.
2-pointers down across the league. A lot of discussion about the new ball this year, the lack of a grip to this ball. It's created some contention among shooters that used to do damage from the 2-point arc.
How about a goal for Will Manny? Beautiful play as he stuffs it past a defenseless keeper for Ohio, and Will Manny gives Boston a 1-0 lead. And Manny, I know you like his game, Evan.
Oh, I think that he is so dangerous in short bursts, and this is what he does in this goal. He's right behind the cage. He gets the defender hung up. Bernhardt gets caught chasing. It's that change of direction, that stop and go that allows him to gain an advantage, get top side, no slide, no help for Bernhardt, and too easy for Manny.
So Will Manny with his 13th goal this season. He now has 24 points. He was in a logjam and a tie for 5th with the scoring leaders. Now he's in 4th, so gives Boston the 1-0 advantage. And fast starts have been a hallmark for John Tucker and the Cannons, and that was not the scenario last year when the Cannons finished out of the playoffs at 5-9. Here's Brent Adams, who has the lone 2-point goal of the season for Boston. Up top, the shot by Buchanan. Phipps just deflects it, and Ohio takes it.
That's a big-time stop for Phipps. That's way too easy and too good of a look for Kevin Buchanan, a guy that's shooting north of 40%. We talked about him in our open. He's been on point and dialed in all year long, and off ball looked like Chris Leitner, 77 white, just caught ball watching. Buchanan will eventually make you pay.
Here's Peter Baum with a shot that goes high. Baum from Colgate, first year in the league, LXM veteran, and Baum's been quite a player. 19 goals and a goal for Ohio. Just like that is the machine counter. Steele Stanwyck, some artful moves for Ohio as they tie it up at 1, and Jordan Burke said, what the heck happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Kyle Sweeney was doing. Ball goes out of bounds. They both run it out, and ball awarded to Steele Stanwyck, and Sweeney runs back into the hole thinking somebody else is going to pick up Stanwyck. All Stanwyck does is just pick that ball up, run to the goal line. Nobody picks him up and puts it past Burke. That's just too easy. That's a mental mistake. We talked about team defense, decision making. That's one you can chalk up to just a mistake that could come to pay you down the line in 1-goal games, which has been the issue for this team.
Chris Eck wins the face-off, but the spare change scooped up by the machine. Here's a shot and a nice tracking save by Jordan Burke as Brandon Porter has it on the rebound. Porter just into the mix for the Cannons out of Rutgers. As Owen Bly had a death in his family, he is not here tonight, so they bring Porter from the LXM, and he comes in and he's playing right away.
No, he seems to be a player that can fit in and play some defensive midfield for this team, offer transition opportunities.
Paul Rabel, nice dodge on the far side, gets checked. Rabel, the bouncing shot, deflected nicely by Phipps. And we're going to have our first television timeout of the night. Ohio 1, Boston 1 with 8:20 remaining in the first quarter at Harvard Stadium. And we'll come back with more after this as we take a look at Will Manny's fabulous score. CBS Sports Network alongside Dave Ryan, and I know you're looking forward to it.
It should be great. I really think that this is the one game, honestly, if you could pick one game to watch all year, it might be this game just because of the passion that the players from the MLL side will have taking on Team USA, and a lot of guys on Team USA trying to make that final 23-man roster. So much on the line for an all-star game.
Terrific entertainment, there's no doubt. As Ohio and Boston are tied 1-1, Phipps out of the net for the Machine. He's 5'9", 185, and one of the many players from Ohio that went to the University of Maryland. High pass and tracked by Bernhardt.
And I think Phipps is one of the X factors for this Ohio team if they want to realize their goals of making the postseason and possibly making a run in the postseason. Phipps has to be consistent week in and week out, because I think they have the offense and the defense in front of them, and at times he looks like an all-star, but then at times things seem to break down around him.
You can learn something from Jordan Burke, who is an all-star, and I know you think he's one of the best goalies in the league.
I do. I think he's had a bounce-back year this year. He was unhealthy last year, dealt with a broken thumb, but much like the defense, the past couple weeks, he hasn't looked as good. So this is an important time for him, really the entire league. We talked about it in our open. It's parity is the new theme for the MLL. So many teams bunched in there from second place all the way down to seventh place in the league. So wins and tiebreakers between teams will become very important.
How about Emery with the speed for the Cannons as he took a lick, but Rob Emery, young legs, the rookie from Virginia, third-round pick, and with Scott McWilliams, the Cavaliers combining for a nice duo for the Cannons. Here's Will Manny, who has the Boston goal.
Defensively for Ohio, they've decided to get a short stick to Rabel a lot and press out and shut him off.
Emery trying to bounce it in on Phipps. Good attempt. And it will be Ohio's ball as the Cannons sent Brody Merrill back on the field along with Eric Martin. Also out there for Boston, Martin Bowes from the University of Hartford, who has 8 ground balls thus far.
Martin's a great luxury, and you're seeing why. He is playing Steel Stamwick with the short stick. Martin's a former All-Pro in this league, played for Denver, San Francisco back in the day. He's been away from the game with injury, but he is a very capable defender and a luxury now for Boston that they can play a player like Stamwick with a short stick, bump up that extra pull to cover this lethal midfield of Ohio.
Shot by Harrison. What a save by Jordan Burke. Fit for the task and a quick outlet to Scott Ratliff. A long stick at the 25 for Paul Rabel.
It's a quality save for Burke, but Harrison's going to want to do more with that shot. Change levels if he can. The velocity wasn't there coming out of his dodge.
Shot by Manny and a goal. Will Manny is second of the night, and the Cannons lead by 1. He was wide open.
Ohio's got to realize defensively you cannot run off the field as a midfielder. You've got to get in the hole and then sub. They get caught in an odd man rush. Buchanan head up, makes the easy pass to Manny in transition. Hands free from that area on the left side that he loves so much.
That's his 14th goal this season. And Chris Eck will fight for the face-off against Bobby Datillo out of Hobart. Eck wins it. Now a quick change for the Machine coming on the near sideline. Dominique Alexander to Steel Stanwick. Designed by Eric Martin. It's become a veteran league, Evan. It's a tough league to penetrate, as a lot of guys would love to play, but you know what? Guys like Casey Powell, who you saw last night on CBS Sports Network, and John Grant Jr., they're not going away as a shot goes wide of Jordan Burke, but is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, I think it's a great thing, and it's interesting because we have this wave of young players, Holman, Schreiber, Wolf, Stanwick still in that mix, year 2, 3, and Schuss, Manny, Ratliff, guys that are cemented in this league. It's really that middle patch, probably from the class of 2008 or 9 to 2012, that are starting to get pushed out of the league. You have to be at a very high level and continually play at a high level to make a 19-man.
And there's Logan Shush with a goal. High shot, and Burke could not stop it. Logan Shush is one of the better players in the league. He's an all-star out of Ohio State. He has his 16th goal this season, right at our second TV timeout of the first quarter. Good way for the Cannons to go into the break, or actually for the Machine to go in the break as they tie it up at 2 with 3:39 to play on the Logan Shush goal. And we'll be back with more from Harvard Stadium after this.
Is not overthink it. They just move the ball through X, and at times that just gets a defense to rotate, and they have great shooters in Schuss, Schreiber, Holman, and even Harrison. That's why those numbers are piling up for the Machine.
Brody Merrill trying to win the faceoff. Good hustle by Bobby Datillo, who slides out of bounds, but Boston will take over.
And Bobby Datillo's done a nice job. This is his first game this year for Ohio. We've played in about 5 games over the last 2 seasons with Rochester. Not sure if Eric O'Brien's beat up or why he's not in the lineup, but Datillo's offered a nice element for Ohio, who's going into a game against Chris Eck, who we discussed is arguably the best in the league.
Berger now to Boyle for Will Manny, and back to Ryan Boyle. Good possession by the Cannons. Rabel. Far side shot by Adams is deflected wide, scooped up on the restart by Will Manny.
Phipps has been very good. He's made 3 saves here in this first quarter, 2 of which could have easily been goals. His defense is not doing a nice job with their second slide. The first side's there, but as Boston moves the ball, they're getting quality looks within 10 yards.
Here comes Buchanan trying to dodge. Nice pass inside, and what a goal! Steven Berger converts off a phenomenal feed from Kevin Buchanan. Playmaker extraordinaire. He can score, but man, he can also set his teammates up.
And on cue, Ohio just gets caught ball watching. Berger 10 and blue right in the interior of the defense, surrounded by Ohio defenders, but their eyes are all drawn towards what Buchanan is doing above the 2-point arc. You have to find ball and man and recognize that Berger is a very underrated finisher.
He certainly is, and I know Boston's been pleased ever since he's come in via trade. That was a big trade engineered by Kevin Barney, the GM of the Cannons, and Berger has been a welcome addition.
He settled into that third attack role. No Matt Posque. They thought Jack Rice, the young guy, might be the answer there. He didn't pan out. Berger, we know him as a midfielder, but he's really just become a finisher on the inside for this attack that runs now through Will Manny. Ryan Boyle and Berger play more inside.
He's also one of the more entertaining players in the league. Has some nice goal celebrations as the shot goes wide.
Offers some charismatic personality. I think the celebrations across the league have hit a new level.
Brent Adams now to Rabel. Adams looking to pick for Rabel. Rabel tries to work it behind the net, but we have a turnover for Boston after a shot clock violation. Dominique Alexandra tries to capitalize for Ohio. Now Schmidt back to Brian Phipps. Out of the net. He distributes to Bernhardt. 1 minute left.
1 minute left in the first quarter.
Bernhardt holds. Bernhardt from Maryland, 6 feet, 190. To Harrison, back to Bernhardt. 35 to shoot for the Machine. Ohio has already surpassed its win total from last season. They won the 2 games. They were 2-12. Bernhardt inside the 2-point arc, defended by Buchanan. Look out! Tried to stuff it in on Burke, but it goes wide. And it'll be Mitch Belisle to trigger for the Cannons. Shot clock off. Buchanan approaches midfield. Distributes for Rabel. Rabel inside. Under 20 seconds remaining in the quarter. Now Sweeney with a goal. Kyle Sweeney has his first goal this season. Wow, the long stick defender, not known for his offense, but he knows where to go.
That's an unbelievably difficult catch on the inside. The trust of Rabel to make this pass, but Sweeney catches this as one hand, changes hands with the 6-foot pole on the inside with defenders draped all over him, and finish it past Phipps. That's as good a goal as you'll see in this league.
Kyle Sweeney, his first point of the year. And Boston leads by 2. As Zach fights at the face-off dot with Datillo. Start for the Cannons. Here comes Sweeney again with another chance. He fires wide. Pick up by Manny. And that's going to do it for an entertaining first 15 at Harvard Stadium. Boston with goals from Will Manny, Steven Berger, and Kyle Sweeney. 2 for Manny as we head to the second quarter with a 4-2 Cannons advantage. Kyle Sweeney, an outstanding score. We'll be back with more after this.
The Boston Cannons Game of the Week is powered by Boston Sports Performance Center, where performance has no limits. BSPC is a premier sports performance, physical therapy, and sports medicine center serving the Boston and Metro West communities.
Guys playing really unselfish first half lacrosse there, getting a lot of assists and layup goals, and certainly a lot of transition goals.
Zach, so he must have something special for this matchup because he hasn't played in any other game this season other than against Boston and Eck, and he wins another one.
Another win for Bobby Datillo. Now he gets ferociously checked by Scott Ratliff. He tries to scoop up the loose change. Aggressive defending by Ratliff. Berger finds a wide open Brody Merrill. Manny couldn't handle the pass. And flip out of bounds. Now the machine. Schreiber. Merrill to Berger. Now Boyle on the far side. Boston has scored 90 goals. So with 6 games remaining after tonight, on a good pace. Last year the story really wasn't their offense, it was their defense, which was horrific at times, allowing 212 goals, the most in the league. Will Manny up top to Mike Stone, who fires, and Phipps got a piece of it. And the outlet is stolen by Will Manny. Good catch by Manny, going for the hat trick. Now up top and a goal. What a shot by Rob Emery, the rookie from Virginia. He's got 3 goals, wide open up top in the high slot, and a perfect pass by Manny as Boston takes a 3-goal lead.
And Ohio's got to figure out the clearing game. They generated or allowed Boston to generate 3 shots in 1 possession with their inability to clear the ball, and finally the Cannons make him pay. Manny picks off this pass, finds Emery as the trailer, and we mentioned his ability to shoot the ball with velocity with his right hand. That's one they'll look back at the tape and be frustrated with because they did a nice job defensively twice, put the ball on the ground, couldn't clear it to their offense.
Face-off win for Eck. Momentum for the Cannons. They've scored the last 3 goals. Ryan Boyle. He's been pretty quiet, Evan, offensively, but he is dangerous. He's been quiet in the first 7 games at least.
Ryan Boyle's game has changed, and obviously that comes with age, but I still think he offers a layer and a dimension to this offense for what he does away from the ball in huddles, directing this offense vocally.
For that matter, finding Will Manny, who has his 3rd of the night. And right now, the defense for the Ohio Machine is in disarray as Boston takes a 4-goal lead, and what a pass again. Boyle this time to Manny.
And that's quintessential Ryan Boyle, but it really starts with the team and Buchanan drawing the defense, moving it one more through Boyle. Boyle always has his head up. Manny the timely cut. When the ball goes through X, whether it's to Manny, to Boyle, or even Berger at times, the Cannons generate quality looks.
That they do. We haven't seen them at Harvard Stadium in a month, but they're making it a memorable homecoming. There's a face-off win from Datillo. Oh, what a play by Brody Merrill, but there's a flag. Might get a slash against the Cannons. Eric Martin voicing his opposition, but crew chief Roy Condon not buying what he's selling. John Tucker's not happy with the call either.
I wouldn't be either. What happens is Brody checks the stick away, and the stick out of Datillo's hands actually trips Datillo up. So it wasn't a push with possession. But either way, Merrill will sit for 30.
Man up for Ohio. Kyle Harrison flips it behind the net. Schreiber. Now Baum, who's been quiet. Harrison to Stanwyck. Stanwyck trying to play make. Pass and a goal. What a shot by Logan Shush. He's got his second of the night. And this time the Cannons were on the wrong page on the defensive end. And Kyle Sweeney says he's not happy either with the call.
Could have been something on the interior of Schuss and Sweeney being held away from the ball, because Schuss is a great finisher. And you can see right there, Harrison is moving as Sweeney's trying to jump out to Schuss and get his stick into the gloves of 20 and White. And Harrison does a nice job sealing Sweeney. Now, if he's moving, could be a off-ball penalty, but unless it's called, don't worry about it. Schuss gets his hands free.
17th goal of the year for Logan Shush. 6-footer, 210 pounds from Ohio State. Machine based in Columbus, so fertile pickings for them with the Buckeyes in their backyard. Shush finds a streaking bomb, tries to bounce it off the field turf as it goes wide. So the end of the 4 straight goals for the Cannons. Maybe some newfound momentum for the Machine.
Well, John, you've watched this league for a number of years now. It's all about the game of runs and which team's going to go on that long run and which team's going to make that crucial mistake at the wrong moment. Last week, for example, it was Boston getting that stick penalty by Berger. These teams can both put up points, and for Ohio, the concern has to be some of your breakdowns defensively away from the ball, just not paying attention to detail.
Here comes Buchanan with it. Buchanan, nice dodge inside. He tried to bounce it in and he paid for it.
And they've got a clear first time here. They do a nice job putting the ball on the ground. Now they can spark transition with this turnover.
Can they capitalize? Stanwyck. Zips a pass. Shot deflected by Belial by Shush. And it goes out of bounds.
That's a rarity to see Shuss not do enough with that shot. With his hands free, he was as open as he's been all night. About 10 yards in, didn't put a lot on that shot. And the Belial or Burke's able to get a stick on it, but that's a quality look for Ohio. Really start on the defensive end.
Oh, what a move by Kyle Harrison. Great athleticism. He's double teamed for a moment. He splits it. He's inside, and he's got a goal. That was just pure industriousness by Kyle Harrison. Outstanding effort. And he gets a well-deserved hug from his teammates as the Machine are within 2.
This is ridiculous. The explosion change in direction for Kyle Harrison. North of 30 now, but playing like he's 20 back at Hopkins and just breaking defenders down. The agility to be able to tiptoe that crease, not step in, unbelievable. He's listed as a D-midi going into Team USA. He may be one of their top offensive midfielders the way he's played this season, around 15 goals through 8 games.
Yeah, he's right at 15 after that beauty. Kyle Harrison went around Mitch Belial. So we got a ball game approaching the first television timeout of the second quarter. Beautiful night and the first day of summer. Couldn't ask for better weather. I know the MLL personnel are hoping for that on Thursday night for the All-Star game here.
So am I.
Everybody is. Shot goes wide at Burke. And Belial scoops it up. I'm jealous. That's going to be a fun game to call.
It is, and I'll be down the sideline for the entire game. We're going to try and get some interviews in, and the intensity, I think, not that these games aren't intense, and we've seen the chippiness, I think, hit a new level this year, the competitiveness, sometimes even anger and hatred, but the layer and the storyline of guys that were left off of Team USA and proving a point to those coaches as they take on the Stars and Stripes, I think is something that always builds for a great game. In 2010, that was the case.
Here comes Mike Stone. Stone's been a pretty constant offensive threat for the Cannons. Rabel picks it up behind the net. Manny, who has 3, into a wall, and here comes a transition opportunity for the Machine. With some speed, Stanwyck fires low. Brian Farrell, the 6'5", 240-pound defender, formerly played for the Cannons out of Maryland. He started the transition.
Had a lot of great years here in Boston, and since he's rejoined this Ohio roster after some coaching duties early in the year, he's given them an element to their defensive game, picking off passes, sparking transition. He's an offensive midfielder with a long pole.
Peter Baum, 31 to shoot for the Machine.
Boston slipped into some sort of zone right here. They check up into their matchups. Got Rabel at the pipe.
Double for a moment by Belisle and Rabel. Stanwyck. Oh boy, is Marcus Holman paid for it. Turnover. Belisle. Brody Merrill couldn't handle the pass. Now he comes back with a vengeance. Probably the guy you do not want to collide with, and Merrill gets up slowly. That would be a dicey injury for Boston. They'll try to walk it off as we hit a TV timeout. Look at Brody Merrill and Kyle Harrison with one of the best goals of the season for the Machine as they trail Boston 6-4. The Cannons, and I know Evan Washburn, you feel both these teams have a chance to raise the Steinfeld Cup.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, you could really make an argument for pretty much anybody. Each team does some things really well, and each team has a flaw. And in Denver, ironically, their flaw really isn't on the field. To me, their flaw is mentally. They go to championship weekend and collapse, and until they don't do that, that's going to be my sort of evaluation of them as a team.
Good save by Burke, and then he's disrupted, and there's a flag. Have a penalty against Ohio. Jordan Burke is not happy.
Schreiber takes the initial shot. Save made by Burke as he comes out of his crease.
That Machine penalty on
Looks like Holman or
30
Stanwyck takes a
interference.
check. The question is Burke in the crease when he has possession of the ball? Then it is interference.
It's on Logan Shush for interference. 30 seconds, man up for the Cannons. Steven Berger. Rabel up top. Cannon to Berger. Will Manny. Rabel. Shot. Deflected. Gets it back. Triple team. Turnover. And Manny. Looking for inside Rabel. Berger. Far side shot and a goal. A rip job by Rob Emery. Emery gives him so much energy, and he also gives him another deadly shooter.
I think he fits in perfectly with the midfield line of Paul Rabel, Buchanan, and now Emery. And I think he's taken minutes and time away from Mike Stone because Emery's just too big, too athletic, and too good a shooter to leave off of the field. This all starts with just ball movement. Once again, that man down or man up opportunity they had, they really spun the ball well. Rabel got a great look, and then they pick up that loose ball and continue to move that ball. Berger one more to Emery.
They've been so deadly around the arc moving the ball this year. Much better ball movement, more precise. Yeah, that's something that John Tucker has brought to them, and he's preached it.
Exactly right. I mean, you remember watching Boston play the last 2 years, and it was Paul Rabel takes the ball, dodges for about 30 seconds, either scores, turns it over, or found somebody for a goal. Now everybody's getting in touch, and it really helps an offense feel involved.
Another chance in front for Ryan Boyle, and he couldn't convert.
He should have had that one. He would love to have that back. Great look from Rabel. Boyle open on the interior, just can't make the catch.
The game was tied 2-2. It's 5-2 in favor of the Cannons with a 3-goal lead. 4.5 to play in the half. Here comes Harrison. Scored moments ago. Schreiber trying to dodge around Buchanan. Stanwyck. Up top, Harrison again. There's Baum. Oh, he just got around Martin. Vicious shot and a save by Burke. That was a beauty by Jordan Burke. Quick outlet. Kyle Sweeney scored his first goal of the season tonight. Manny flips it for Berger. Berger and Manny and Boyle give them so many options behind the net.
It's your unconventional attack unit.
Rabel with a goal as it hit off the pipe and then deflects in as Rabel celebrates. And maybe been a little bit of a gift, Evan, but he'll take it. That's going to lead us to a break as Paul Rabel gives the Cannons a 9-4 lead. Rabel has the goal, and the Cannons lead by 5 with 3:43 to play in the half.
Back in the net off a Rabel goal.
I think he has the most confidence he's had in his career. The goals against average of 10.54 entering the game. And
when you break a thumb as a goalie, you're going to feel vulnerable all season long because that's an area where you're going to take a lot of shots. And that's actually how he broke it. He broke the thumb in warm-ups and continued to play the entire season. So you can't grip the stick the same way. It affects your ability to move around the cage. It's a debilitating injury for a goalie. So it's good that he's healthy. He's in better shape this year, ran the Boston Marathon. The goalie play across the league, I think, has been a big reason why some of the scoring's been down, along with a few other variables.
Here's Will Manny. He's picked by Berger. Manny looks for him inside, has to go back to the far side for Rabel, who's just scored moments ago. Rabel to Manny, and the goal just goes wide, just on the side of the net. Out of the cage is Brian Phipps with a quick feed. Wiedemeyer. Machine trying to drain some clock. 2:25 to play in the half.
Machine haven't looked themselves offensively. They haven't been moving the ball around consistently. They've taken some quick shots. Now Burke, as we showed you, has made some quality saves, but we haven't seen the burst from Baum except for that one split. Schreiber's been quiet. Stanwyck's been kind of taken out of his game, dealing with a short stick for most of the night.
Adams tries to defend on Baum. He gets by him. And the shot goes off the stick of a Cannons defender. Here comes Ohio with another chance. Short side shot. It was a blast. Machine possession, 51 to shoot. As they trail by 5. Baum from Colgate. Loose ball picked up. Harrison holds. Now he goes far side. Checked by Martin, little flip, and scooped up by Jordan Burke. Outlets to Sweeney, runs into Shush. Look out. Stanwyck with it. And we got a flag at midfield. Boy, that was quite a collision. Sweeney and Shush.
Yeah, that was in the mode of dangerous because while Sweeney does dip his head, Shush gets him with his arms separated. He doesn't lower his shoulder. It's a good call.
Sweeney leaves the game. 1 minute on the cross check. Man up for Boston. Logan Shush to the box.
is not helping offense for Ohio that was struggling to sort of find its rhythm. Boston's throwing a lot of wrinkles at them defensively, a zone, short sticks on some attackmen. They've looked out of character, and now they have to play man down to finish out this half.
Manny to Rabel. Manny tries to flip it to Berger. He pays for it. Ran into Alexander. Tracking it is Ryan Boyle. Shot clock at 25. Up top, Emery, who has 2 goals. Errant feed by Paul Rabel, and it's Ohio ball. 37.8 to play in the half. Alexander. Harrison, just past midfield. Sheen looking for some momentum to head to the locker room. Stanwyck has one of their 4 goals. Defended tightly by Buchanan. Now Ratliff trying to close in. Top, a shot and a goal. Good way to go into the half for the Ohio Machine, and what a shot by Marcus Holman. Your Warriors spotlight in the pregame, and Marcus Holman a quiet first half, but you know what? That was a hell of a shot.
And he barely had any touches in this first half. Finally gets a quality look from about 17, 18 yards out, hands free, and fires it past Burke. High to high heat. He is as dialed in as a shooter as there is in the league right now. He's around 75%, now 14 goals, 4 games, 2 2-pointers. Holman's got to touch the ball more in the second half.
So a 3-goal lead for the Cannons, and the face-off win for Rec at the buzzer. And Boston will go in leading 9-6. So offensively, some terrific moments for both teams. Defensively, both had some breakdowns, but for the most part, a good first half, Evan, for Boston.
Parity just means everybody's mediocre, but I don't think that's the case here. I think that there's parity because we've got so many tiers of talent. Teams are deep now, and there's an attention to detail throughout the week. We still don't have full weeks of practice with these teams, but through social media, the better film work, some of the editing things that are being used, guys are really prepared for games better than they were, let's say, 5 years ago. Pair that with guys in better shape, the talent coming out of college, and we've got a great league right now in terms of talent.
One of these guys just coming out of Virginia. Rob Emery had a good first half with 2 goals. Our halftime interview. Will Manny cannot win possession, but now goes out of bounds. Good defending by the Ohio Machine. Boston in the home blue, Ohio in the away white. Paul Rabel takes it. Roy Condon is the crew chief. Rabel with a goal in the second quarter for Boston as he triggers. Wide open, Buchanan, look out, hits the pipe. Kevin Buchanan doesn't miss much. He's got 20 goals, also set up Boston. It's beautiful assisting in the first half.
Ohio's got to be much more disciplined defensively.
Manny with a short side shot goes wide.
They're allowing way too many multiple shot possessions. They're flying out towards Rabel, which I understand he's a dominant offensive player, but you've got to have that backside help. Buchanan's getting a lot of looks tonight. This is the first night Buchanan's looked human, missing the cage, hitting the pipe a couple times. But again, he'll make you pay if you continue to give him quality looks.
Manny on the near side. Heard John Tucker talk about how happy he is with his play. Here's Emery going for the hat trick. I'll tell you what, he shoots it almost as hard as Paul Rabel and Kevin Buchanan.
And now that he's canned a few, he's not afraid to shoot it. I think at times he might want to move it one more, but you can see the rookie starting to gain that confidence, which is a good thing. It just has to be tempered.
Manny. Shot goes wide of the goalie, Brian Phipps. Buchanan takes it back as it was deflected out of bounds off of Phipps. Good dodge by Rabel and a bouncing shot. What were your thoughts on Brian Phipps' play?
I think that yet an underrated half. We talked a lot about Burke for good reason. I think Phipps also, he had 8 saves going into the half, made probably 3 that were goal-saving type saves.
Flag, Emery the
Right
shot.
there.
Good save by Phipps as he goes down.
You can hear that up here.
Yeah, that was a blast. As Phipps staggered a bit.
He's tough, but he's not as tough as his brother.
That Ohio penalty is on Jake Bernard. 30 seconds, hold.
It's a hold on Ohio, so a man up for Boston. Cannon to Berger. Emery and Rabel playing give and go. Boyle. High pass. Rabel couldn't track it. Ratliff tries to win. Now here comes Ohio on the near sideline. That's going to do it for the man up. Opportunity goes awry for Boston. Logan Shush had a good first half, and he'll hold for the Machine. It's a rare misfire on the pass to Paul Rabel.
Yeah, Manny just trying to skip it through. I understand you want to get it to Rabel, but let the ball do the work.
Here comes Harrison with a blast and a goal. Was he just in front of the 2-point arc? Harrison has his second goal of the night. As it looked like Jordan Burke didn't see that at all. He was just simply stunned. It is a 2-pointer for Harrison. It's 9-8. Or check that. Now they say he's in front of the 2-point arc.
His toe is right
9-7.
up the line.
Yep.
You can see it from there. And more importantly, I'm just not sure why Kyle Sweeney doesn't respect Harrison at this point. 15 goals on the season, and he never gets his hands on him. Stick is not anywhere near the gloves of 18 and white Harrison. That's just too easy for a guy who's dialed in as an offensive player right now.
That was a close call as far as the 2-point shot goes, but I guess he just was a skosh in front. That's his 16th goal of the year. Suddenly we got a ball game. Boston ripped off that run of 4 consecutive scores in the first half, Evan, but their defense has lost its shape.
And this is what's made Ohio different this year, John, is they don't get bogged down and beat down when they are down 3 or 4 goals. In years past, their first 2 years in the league, they would have sort of turned it in and this would become a blowout. They have the firepower and the belief in their system and their ability to get back in games.
There's a shot saved by Burke as he stymied Marcus Holman, who had a brilliant score at the end of the first half. It was a 2-pointer. Brent Adams, the lone 2-point goal of the year for the Cannons, gets whacked by Harrison. Buchanan to Rabel. Berger back to Adams. 34 on the Boston shot clock. Rabel, nice dodge. Berger, Buchanan, goal! Kevin Buchanan is 21st of the season, and just like that, Boston counters the Machine goal.
That's just great offense, team offense, and it's really Paul Rabel at his best, and this is the dimension of his game that's developed with age and with confidence, I believe, where he's not worried about the assist and the score. He beats his defender, draws 2, Berger quickly moves it 1 more to Buchanan in his shooting window with his left hand. But it all starts with Rabel drawing a defense, quickly moving it, and Berger, unselfish, 1 more to Buchanan.
And a face-off win again for Chris Eck. That was great ball movement. High pass for Berger, couldn't handle it. Good hustle by Boyle, but Ohio regains possession.
Depending on how this plays out, and obviously you got a 3-goal lead here, that's a nice lead, but there have been miscues, and we talked about this before the game, John, you and I discussing, what's the deal with Boston? Why are they 3 and 4? Because at times in games, there's lapses. There's areas where they just don't seem to put it together, and these turnovers can pay dividends in the wrong way. at the tail end of a game. We've lost a lot of close games this year.
And it's starting to get feisty as there's another flag down. Both teams increasing their competitiveness, and that leads to some dismay on both sides.
That Ohio penalty on Ryan Phipps, 30 seconds, delay of game.
So Phipps gets a delay of game.
Delay of game. Ryan Phipps, so Boston with a 30-second man up.
I would test Rogers quickly with a shot with a lot of velocity.
Berger looks for Manny. Buchanan to Rabel. He gets doubled. Buchanan, the goal. There's your guy, Kevin Buchanan, his second straight, and Boston's up by 4.
I said you cannot continue to give Buchanan quality looks, and obviously when you're a man down, it's tougher to find shooters like Buchanan, but the ball movement was there. Started at X, they moved it through to Rabel, but he finds Buchanan, and Rogers comes in cold goalie. The first thing you want to do is test him high with a lot of heat, have him try and find the ball. He can't find the riser from 27 and below.
Kevin Buchanan saluted by his teammates on the sideline as the Cannons go up by 4. 8:54 to play in the third.
Rogers is supposed to come in and try and find it.
Brissek against Bobby Datillo. And another win for Eck. That's why he's the best in the league. Brody Merrill, linchpin defender for the Cannons. Another candidate to win Defensive Player of the Year in MLL. And he just gets better with age, Evan, and I think it's not only his conditioning, but the fact he's such a smart player.
Oh, his IQ is through the roof, both on the field and off of it. He's got a patience and calmness to his game. And you mentioned his fitness, though. I really think that is how he's continued to be effective and be a difference maker in this league. He's in incredible shape, and he's underrated, I think, as an actual on-ball defender. He's not easy to beat. Everybody talks about his ground ball game for good reason, but he's good on the ball.
Oh boy, Mike Stone with a collision, lost the ball, and the intensity continues to increase. These guys are going all out, trying to gain each side's 4th win and reach the 500 plateau.
It's a critical point. We're going to talk about it all night as the standings sort of shake out. Denver's up there at number 1, and then with Florida's loss, Rock's win, they got 2nd place. So 3rd place is up for grabs, and you want to find yourself at the top tier of this league because there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for what I think will be 3 spots.
Steele Stanwyck, nice play, but a save by Burke. Stanwyck eyeing the net, but Burke was there, and a quick outlet. Now Brandon Porter has it. First game for the Cannons from Rutgers. Porter a late add-on this week after Owen Bly left the team due to a death in his family. Underhand flip, what a play by Emery. Gaining speed, Boyle inside the arc. Flips it to Berger. Will he elect to shoot it? And they are fast in the offensive end.
They are. It's so shifty. Berger, he had a quality look coming off of that goal line extended, but almost ran himself out of an angle, but was patient. Boston gets another good look here.
Cannon go for the hat trick, but fired it wide. 16 to shoot. 6:20 remaining in the third, and very entertaining game at Harvard Stadium. Will Manny, he has 3 goals. Oh boy, good save by Phipps. It's basically a surprise save, I think, as Phipps was stunned, but he did a nice job. And now a win in possession for the Machine. Here they come to the offensive end. Harrison has it. Defended by Brody Merrill. Quickly on the field. It's Schreiber.
Schreiber's been quiet tonight. He's had to deal with the pull. They've double pulled this first midfield line for Ohio, but he's got to try and make a difference in some areas. He's got to cut more, work more off ball.
Harrison, Baum, and Schreiber working effectively. Holman to Stanwyck as he's bumped by Eric Martin, the veteran defender. Harrison scoops it up, saved by Burke. Near side post, and here comes a transition opportunity for Ratliff. Ryan Boyle directing traffic.
That's a tough look for Harrison. He's fading away from the cage, very little angle, very little velocity. That's too easy for Burke. And you see what's happening with Stanwyck having that short stick matchup with Martin. He is dodging more, but he's still not gaining any ground on 55 and blue. And it's got this offense still figuring it out. This unconventional look defensively, I think, is having an effect on Ohio offensively.
Rabel inside the arc. Looks for Berger, now to Manny, back to Rabel. Buchanan, part of the cohesive Boston offense. Boyle gets checked. Persistent Ryan Boyle has 6 to shoot. He's down to 3. And a steal by the long stick. Oh, here's an opportunity for Brian Farrell. They had a 4-on-3. Shot and a goal. Brian Farrell, one-man fast break. And it's 11-8 Cannons, but Farrell connects against his old team.
This really started with the pickoff on one end defensively, and then Burkhart lucky not to lose his head in the middle of the field. Paul Rabel lines him up. We've talked about Farrell and what he can do as a transition midfielder with the long ball. He can play some defense. Why he's a professional lacrosse player is because he's so good off the ground, decision making in the transition game, and his ability to shoot the rock.
And we're going to have a timeout with the Cannons up by 3. Farrell, his first goal of the year, and a good one at Harvard Stadium in Boston with 4 minutes to play in the third. The break, a quick strike score by Brian Farrell.
And the only problem that we've seen really defensively for either team, but specific to Boston, is they have given up some transition for Ohio. Unsettled situations have been the area where Ohio seemed to find the most success offensively. In the settled 6-on-6, I still think they're figuring out the best way to generate quality looks. And when they've gotten them, and Bear Davis said this going into half, they just haven't canned them. Logan Schuss hasn't shot the ball as well as he normally does.
Emery to Manny. Now to Kevin Buchanan. Buchanan, 2 goals in the third quarter. Has 21 in his all-star season. Rabel, and a goal! Oh, Paul Rabel, a lightning strike. And Boston leads by 4. That's the second of the night for the perennial all-star.
That's an all-world play right there. That's why Paul Rabel's in commercials and does all the things that he does, because his athleticism, his explosion, and his lacrosse ability at times are unstoppable. He's matched up with Chad Wiedmeyer, a quality defenseman in this league, and just absolutely breaks his ankles, stops, and fires a shot close to 100 miles an hour with his offhand past Phipps. That's just as good as it gets.
Well said. There's no doubt he's the face of lacrosse. And 14 goals and 19 assists go a long way towards more endorsements. Which is where he stands now.
But I've said it a lot this season, really last season too. I love that he's taken a step back in terms of being a ball-dominant player. He touches the ball a lot, but he's always getting guys involved. He's more of an orchestrator of the offense as opposed to a dominator of the offense.
And another goal by Ohio to counter with Kevin Cooper, who hasn't played much tonight, but he does score on a one-man fast break. Cooper dodging and weaving past the Cannons defense, and they suddenly lose their cohesion on the defensive end, and Mitch Belisle and Eric Martin are surrounding Jordan Burke along with Scott Ratliff talking it over, but Cooper just terrific play of it.
That's a welcome to the MLO moment from Brendan Porter. He does not jump outside that pick and jam Cooper. He's chasing the entire way. You have to take proper angles when guarding from the midfield. These midfielders in this league are big, fast, and will run right through stick checks. You have to start jamming them much higher than you do in a college game.
Eck with a chance after the face-off win. Launches it wide. It goes off of Ohio. Boston with 49 to shoot. Berger trying to crease drive. Scooping up the loose change, and a shot by Sweeney, who had his first goal earlier. Good attempt by Steven Berger. Manny to Brent Adams. And the Cannons will hold with under 2 to play in the third. Rabel feeling it. Flips it for Adams, who loses it. Comes transition for Dan Groot. He's from Maryland. Defender for the Machine. Marcus Holman. His father's an assistant coach at Towson. Inside the arc, Harrison. They try to go low on Burke, but he's there. Maybe the wrong move as Logan Shush having a tough shooting night.
Yeah, he didn't realize that he actually had some more time there on the interior. He felt like checks were coming down immediately, so he backhands that. He had time to get that in his left hand and get a better quality and more accurate shot pass. Burke just settled there, and he's got 2 goals, but for Shush, he could probably have 4 or 5 if he was at his normal level.
Mike Stone for Buchanan. 28 on the shot clock. The dodge by Buchanan. Now the double. Slides out of it to Berger. Oh, far side Adams. Manny connects. Buchanan whistles it wide.
That's a pretty offense. I think if Buchanan gives a stick fake or a pump fake, he had Schreiber in the air. He could have taken that all the way to the rack. Easy to say from this perspective, but
looks much easier up here, that's for sure.
But he had Schreiber running at him full speed, and Buchanan one hitch, and he would have been able to run right on top of Phipps.
Good pass by Farrell to Bernhardt, and he hits it home. Bernhardt with a goal as Ohio, you can see at the end of the third quarter, is gaining some steam on the offensive end. And it's probably one Jordan Burke would like to have back after the goal by Bernhardt.
Their best offense right now is transition offense, whether it's Farrell for coming out of the box, Bernhardt in the unsettled. Boston's got to get in, call out a man, and get their hands on defenders. Once again, nobody's touching Bernhardt. He takes 2-3 steps inside the 2-point arc. You see Buchanan's a step late. He's got the excuse of being on the offensive end. Ratniff's got to come up and help and get the stick in the gloves of Bernhardt.
Dicey moments for the Cannons at the end of the third. Spare change. One for a moment by Ohio. Now they pick it back up. Nice flip from behind, and 3 flags with 2 seconds left. Flags fly in unison. Roy Kahn and the crew chief.
Coleman took a shot right at the back.
That was not pretty.
That Cannons penalties on Kyle Sweeney. /.
So a man up for Ohio. So sorted out. Brian Farrell will get it. Shot right on Burke. And that will do it for the end of the third.
At the end of the third quarter.
More exciting offense for both teams, with Boston grabbing a 12-10 lead. And don't go away, should be an interesting final 15 from Boston.
BC's leads out to those members. They get their first crack at them, and they'll wear them Thursday night in the All-Star game. And then, to your point, I'm sure come 4th of July, Memorial will open them up to everybody. But those guys that are on Team USA get the first shot at introducing them to the public.
There's going to be some very nice uniforms as well worn by the MLL All-Stars. There'll be a blackout on Thursday night.
I like that. It kind of fits with the theme we're sort of setting, that those guys are not a happy bunch playing against Team USA.
So you're guessing that there might be some
I hope it
chippiness.
is. I mean, I'm selling it that way. That's what I've been told. I was told the 2010 game was as good as game as they've seen in this league in a long time. So obviously you don't want it to get out of hand, but
Right.
I'd love to see guys just play extremely hard.
What a save by Burke. High velocity shot by the machine, and it was whistled in there by Logan Shush, but Burke was right there.
He took that right off the face mask, and Shush is as hard a shooter as there is in this league. And he continues to struggle a bit, but he'll keep firing them. He's of that mentality. I'll take 12 shots and can 5 or 6.
Buchanan. Carry and dodge for Boston. Oh, couldn't connect with Berger.
It's a nice shot by Schmidt just to subtly get in the stick lane. He doesn't knock that pass down, but the cross gets in the eye path of Berger, so he doesn't see it, doesn't be able to make that catch. This is extra effort plays as a defenseman. You don't want to get out of position, but if you get your stick in a passing lane, good things will happen.
Bernhardt. Baum, who's had a quiet night for the machine. Stanwyck scored in the first half. Baum gets it back. What are your keys for Ohio and Boston in the fourth?
I'd like to see right here, attack Porter. I haven't seen him play strong defense really in this game. It's his first MLO game. The speed can be a bit jarring.
Here
And
he
for
comes.
Boston, you've got to figure out your transition defense.
Timeout, John Tucker.
Timeout,
And the Cannons.
Cannons.
Is this a good timeout with 12:39 to play?
Yeah, I think they recognize time and situation. You want to get a quality possession in. The previous possession, you threw the ball away. Ohio's gone on a run here. You've struggled with your transition defense. Let's really manufacture this chance here and try and regain the momentum that we clearly had. And 2 points in this league, as we know, is one shot.
Very valuable. And you're surprised that Porter's played this much with his first MLO
Well,
game?
when you've got 19 guys that can dress, if you're dressing, you're probably playing, especially at that short stick defensive midfielder position. And I don't want to say he's played poorly, but their midfield, and that midfield is Ohio, and it's Baum, Harrison, and Schreiber. And I think Boston's done a great job double polling that group. But if Porter's out there and you're the third guy, whether it's Baum, Harrison, or Schreiber that didn't get one of the polls, attack that matchup, try and generate a slide and move it through X. That's the offense that Bear Davis wants to run, and I haven't seen it on a consistent basis. Marcus Holman just hasn't touched the ball enough.
That's bizarre.
Yeah,
Why hasn't he been involved?
Well, they're still figuring out exactly how the Holman-Stanwyck thing works out, because they're both ball-dominant attackmen. They like to carry the ball behind the cage. Now, Stanwyck is your quintessential quarterback. Holman can be kind of like kamikaze dodger, but very effective, as we've seen over the past few weeks. So I just think they need to put Stanwyck inside some and allow Holman to play behind the cage a little bit more. But it's a feeling out process. But I say that we're in week 8. You got to feel it out at some point.
Mike Stone after the Boston timeout. 6-on-6. Far side Boyle. Buchanan's got it. Flips it to Ryan Boyle. Now Rabel, who has 2 goals.
I think Rabel can dice this matchup up against Wiedemeyer.
Manny with a goal. They try to stifle Will Manny, but he has his first goal since the first half, 4th of the night, and a key score for Boston as they go up by 3.
Hopefully I can get a second look at this, because I think this is one Phipps might want to have back. I'm not sure if he didn't necessarily hug the pipe. We won't have a replay, but Manny cannot be given a chance from that close. He was probably 8 yards from the cage. Now, he didn't have a lot of an angle, so I'm not sure how Phipps approached the shot, but Rabel draws so much attention, and Wiedemeyer doesn't really get his hands on him until he's about 10 yards in, dumps it to Manny for a good look.
That's 16 goals for Will Manny in his second year, as he is now 4th in the league in scoring. Just an unbelievable option for Boston to increase their firepower. And credit to the front office led by Kevin Barney, the GM. And your organization for finding this talent. Is Boston probably the envy of a lot of teams around the league in that they've become so consistent. I know the goals have been pretty much level on all sides as the offensive production for all teams has been good, but Boston just has it spread across the score sheet better than other teams as we have a turnover. Here comes Brian Farrell, the former Cannon. Stanwyck. Now flip high for Alexander. Short side, try to jam it in. Burke was there. It'd be frustrating. Jordan Burke makes important saves like that, but Stanwyck misfires going high, and Brett Adams will trigger for Boston.
I'm not sure why Stanwyck puts that in his left. He has much more of an angle to shoot that right-handed, more net to shoot for. He's equally effective with both hands.
Manny tries to get around Dana Wilbur. Rabel's got it. Alexander will defend. Intensity of Paul Rabel gets by him and he's got a goal. He just made it look like they weren't even there. Paul Rabel's got a hat trick and the Cannons lead 14-10. Why did they not neutralize Paul Rabel?
Well, John, we always say sometimes it's easier to make opinions up here, and this is one time where you're seeing the size and speed of Paul Rabel, about 6'3", 220 plus pounds. Defenders just bounce off of him and he runs in a straight line, and there's no slide there that can limit what he's able to do once he gets that close to the cage, other than maybe Phipps come out and totally sell out his body, but I don't blame him for not doing that. That's Paul Rabel just being too good. We've seen two examples of it, one where he splits Wiedmeyer earlier in the game, and then right there where he just uses his size and speed to dominate this game.
So 4 for Manny, 3 for Rabel, 2 for Buchanan. And Boston's firepower exhibited early in the fourth quarter. Keep in mind the Cannons lost a heartbreaker last week, 17-16. Chesapeake with an important win, and they stunned the Cannons, who took the early big lead.
Yeah, I was there for that game. It was wild because Berger actually scored in overtime, but the ball was wiped off due to his foot being in the crease after a challenge by Dave Cottle.
Good challenge by Cottle.
That's the thing with Boston, and I know, and I don't mean this I'm not critical in terms of I don't think this is an organization that's run well. I think they're run extremely well, but if you think about it, since 2011, they're under 500.
Yep.
For all the talent that they have and consistency and all the positivity that surrounds this team, they don't have the championships and the playoff wins to back it up in recent years, and I think this year has to change the tide for that. It's continued to be up and down.
No, there's no doubt. They definitely need to establish better consistency, because they definitely do have the talent. And what a play there by Peter Baum. 8:28 remaining. And the goal by the Machine's Baum, as Jordan Burke was slow to react, and Baum went up high for the Machine. We have our first TV timeout of the fourth quarter. It's still a good ball game as the Cannons lead by 3. 14-11 with 8:28 remaining in the fourth quarter at Harvard Stadium. With Evan Washburn, I'm John Mita Perrell. Great to have you with us. The YouTube MLL Game of the Week. Our producer Norm Harnick and a terrific crew doing a great job on the first night, first day of summer. Boston. Kyle Sweeney, who had his first goal. It's intercepted by Brian Farrell, his former teammate. Transition opportunity. It's been a thorn for the Cannons. Here they come inside, and Holman gets pulled down by Kevin Buchanan on the attempt on Burke. No call, though. Good opportunity for Holman to capitalize.
That was, and I understand Stanwyck makes that one more to Holman. He's so good at making athletic plays out of the cage, but he didn't have much of an angle, and Burke was up to the task.
Merrill gets picked off. Rare mistake by Brody Merrill. Still Stanwyck doing the honors. Underhand shovel to Logan Shush. And his fire is caught by Burke. They're sloppy here with their feeds in the last 2 minutes. Manny on the bounce to Buchanan inside the arc. Look out, here he comes. Kevin Buchanan's got a goal. A hat trick for Buchanan, his 22nd of the year. And a big one for the Cannons as they're up by 4 again.
Some ugly lacrosse here, but Buchanan makes him pay by picking up an effort ground ball in traffic and having the presence and patience while he's running out of an angle, puts this in his left hand and wraps it around Phipps. Boston gets lucky. They turn the ball over twice. And Ohio gets good looks. That just shot just did not have enough on it.
But Kevin Buchanan has just been instant offense, electrifying on the offensive end. There's Chris Eck for the majority of the night. Wins have come for Eck as he pushes. No flag on Chris Eck.
Eck's earned his wins though. Datilo's done a nice job, Datillo, excuse me, has done a nice job. We talked about it in their first meeting. He was about 57%.
Yeah.
And while I don't think he's at that number tonight, he's made Eck really earn it. Eck's used to dominating games. A little frustrated.
Rob Eberine going for the hat trick. To Boyle. Comes Rabel again. They slide toward him and a goal. Was it deflected by Berger or was it Paul Rabel? Paul Rabel has taken over the game in the second half. And the Cannons are at 16. Ohio stunned again on defense.
This is great team offense. Rabel starts with it. I think he finds Buchanan in there, John. Roll it back. Rabel splits. Wiedmeyer finds Buchanan. Fires it past Phipps.
Yeah, there was Buchanan.
That's just too easy. Buchanan's sitting in the middle of that defense and nobody's anywhere near him. And I'm not sure that Wiedmeyer bumping up to play Paul Rabel matchup. That just seems too easy for 99.
So Buchanan with 4 now. And it is easy. The game is slowed down for Paul Rabel in the second half. Cannons have scored 32 goals in their last 2 games. Brent Adams to Manny. Gives it up. Spare change. Scooped up. Phipps paid for it. So he gets doubled by Manny and Berger, but Machine take over. Ryan Farrell to Bernhardt, who has a goal. They have 40 to shoot on the 60-second shot clock. Steals Stanwyck, holds. Under 5 to play in the game. Good check by Ratliff, causes a turnover. Here comes Sweeney. Scoops up the ground ball to Adams. Adams, 4-on-2. He fires wide. Nice job by Phipps to deflect it. Great chance by the Cannons. Here comes Kevin Cooper. He scored in the third. Cooper trying to dodge inside. Launches high.
I don't know what Ohio's doing right now. This offense is just, one guy's just deciding, okay, it's my turn to go. And all Cole's staying on the field too long.
Very erratic. It's going to be frustrating for Bear Davis.
Yeah, because they played so well a lot of this season, and they came into this game off a win over Rochester, where I thought they really dominated a lot of the game. And tonight we've seen flashes of it, but in the most important moment here, as this fourth quarter dwindles down and you're still in this ball game, the decision-making has been poor.
Very strange, but Cannons will take it. Shot and a goal. There you go. That's better. ball movement by Ohio as Logan Shush capitalizes. And he was left wide open in the high slot.
That Ohio goal, Logan Shush.
Shush has had a pretty good night despite some misfires. And that leads us to another break with Boston up 16-12, 3:56 remaining.
Selfishness. He's got some assists, goals, a lot of hockey assists as well. This is as good as I've seen him play. Now, I haven't seen him play every game, but in person, this is as dominant as it's been.
5 energy shot of the game, compliments of Paul Rabel. He's hit a few of those this year. And another timeout with 3:41 left. Boston in control, leading 16-12. And the Machine sideline, timeout Ohio. Bear Davis needs some more time to reflect. And what do you think he's going over?
Well, at first I think it's a good timeout because he just, I don't think, trusts his guys to make the right decision as they immediately get into their offense. Way too many quick shots, so this way he can manage this possession. And we saw the previous possession when they didn't settle down, settle in, allow the shot clock to run a little bit, allow people to get a touch. Cooper takes it behind, and then they get a quality look for Shuss above the cage. I love Cooper in the invert game behind the cage with either Holman or Stanwick. If he's in this lineup, my guess is he's not right now. So you have Schreiber, Baum, Harrison, Holman, Shuss, and Stanwick. Stanwick action behind with Holman would be nice, or just initiate with one of your midfielders. Whoever has the short stick, I think you attack from up top, try to get the defense to rotate, and find either Holman or Shuss for a quality look. The midfield's been quiet for Ohio.
They have.
That's a credit to what Boston's done defensively. Remember, they split 2 poles on that first midfield and put a short stick. It's been most of the night Eric Martin on either Shuss or Stanwick. Here, the rookie, if you will, Porter, rookie to the MLL, his first game, is up on Schreiber, but Shuss gets his shot at Martin.
Here he comes, up top to Baum. Deft stick handling, comes to the near side for Harrison, who's been tough. Back to Baum, he unloads, he's got a goal. Goal for Baum, and good call, Evan, getting Baum more involved. And it's back to a 3-goal game. Good timeout by Bear Davis.
Quality timeout, I'm not sure if it's worth challenging. Was it a 1 or a 2? Either way, a great time for Baum to finally find his shot. You have to be more physical with Baum at that 2-point arc. He's explosive. He can bring velocity from 15 to 20 yards out. And it was a bit of a passive defense for Boston.
Can he'll afford that in the final 3:15. Eck at the face-off circle. Trying to win this time with Jake Bernhardt. It's a win for Ohio, and the shot and a goal. 2-pointer. That's a 2-pointer for Dana Wilbur. Long stick. Dana Wilbur stuns the Cannons. 2 goals in the span of 20 seconds. Unassisted. And Ohio certainly back in the game, trailing by 1.
Wow, we talk about game of runs, and this is a 3-goal run that has quickly gotten Ohio back into this game, and it starts at the face-off-X. You've seen Eck be very effective in this second half, and now they're throwing Bernhardt out there. It's a new look. Now Boston wins this one, but the work of Wilbur off the wing to stick a fork in that ball and create a 2-pointer, his first goal of the season.
A revitalized attack for Ohio. Can the Cannons hang on? They need it. Trying to go to 4-4. Ohio is also 3-4.
You wonder, John, at these moments, despite the experience, they've lost so many 1-goal games.
Yep.
Can they learn and figure out how to win games, how to grind out a win? Because at some point it's going to be, we're figuring out a way to lose games.
Emery to Rabel, back to Emery. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Emery dodges around Bernhardt. Was in tight, tried to jam it home, couldn't do it on Phipps.
I don't think that's your best look. A rookie who's a great step-down shooter, dodging a short, dodging out of an angle. I'd love to see Paul just keep that and continue to do what he's done all night. He's drawn the attention of the defense and made the right play.
Definitely a questionable decision. Here comes Schreiber. Gets checked by Brent Adams.
Now Ohio's got to play with some poise here. Recognize time and situation. No need to force it. You've got a minute 30. Obviously the shot clock there, but earn a quality look.
Bomb rips it wide. Oh, that was a burner by Baum. We'll have 30 to shoot. And Ohio, the offensive end with Stanwyck. Been pretty quiet. Stanwyck trying to dodge, split the double now with Merrill and Adams. Finds Schreiber. Schreiber's goal! Wow! They have tied it up. The Ohio Machine, 3 consecutive goals out of the two-pointer. It's 4, 16-16 with 1:12 left, and Boston has blown it. In the final last 2 minutes, Cannons have just looked like a different team.
The athleticism here, watch right here. He stops all of his momentum at the crease, rolls back. That is extremely difficult. He's going full speed, stops on a dime, rolls back, gets away from his defender and puts it past Burke. Nice play from Stanwyck too, fading away from the defense.
Suddenly a tie game, incredible. And a timeout, Boston. Persek wins the faceoff, but John Tucker needs a timeout. They've lost all their cohesion on the offensive and defensive ends. And credit to Ohio to come back and tie it up.
This young team for Ohio is playing with a lot of confidence. I love that they don't back down when finding themselves in a situation where it looks like it's all over. These goals by Baum, the two-pointer from Over, and then here, the best one of all, in my opinion, stopping right there, rolling back, the explosion out of it. That is a high degree of difficulty goal, quality goal from a rookie in Schreiber. That's why he's taken with the #1 overall pick. And flip side for Boston, just managing the final 4 minutes of this game. There's situations that happen. Wilbur gets a good look in transition, but I'll go back to that last possession. I don't know why Emery is the guy that you want taking it out, having that wing dodge all on his own. He's a rookie that's known as a great shooter at this moment.
That was probably not the smartest decision, and now Boston has to regain some composure, Evan, with 1:04 to play and facing an overtime situation at 16. You're looking at a defense right now that's been totally stymied, and Jordan Burke is going to be frustrated as well because he's been defenseless for the most part.
Yeah, some of these have been not Burke's fault per se, that we've looked right on top of them, but it's a defense as a whole. Now as we look at what Boston wants to do right now, I'd have to think in this situation, Paul Rabel's got to be the guy that at least starts with the ball. He draws so much attention. I'm more curious how they're going to manage the time. Do they hold it for one of the final shots? Now there's a 4-second shot clock differential, but if you do get that last shot at the 60, you don't leave Ohio much to work with.
It will be Boston ball after the face-off win came before the timeout.
A lot of times in these situations, it's not the first shot, it's a rebound, it's a ricochet that ends up being that game winner.
Manny with 4 goals tonight, out of Emery. Back to Manny. It's Manny and Berger and Boyle, alternating behind the cage all game. Manny to Boyle. 30 on the shot clock. About a 4-second differential, as Evan mentioned. Manny. Emery's got it, the rookie from Virginia. Now Kevin Buchanan, who's had a great night.
We're going to hold for it.
Rabel inside the arc, the shot goes wide. He had 10 to shoot. 14.1 to play. Buchanan Trying to dodge. Buchanan rips it. Goes high. Berger will re-trigger. Three to shoot. Lost it, and that's it. End of the shot clock. They fire it down the field with 1/10 of a second remaining. And that will do it. 16-16 after Boston gives up 4 straight goals to Ohio. An amazing end and a phenomenal finish for the Ohio Machine, and they certainly have the momentum headed into overtime.
They do, but overtime's a beautiful thing for a variety of reasons. I really think you can wipe the slate clean, and momentum not often doesn't really carry in, but Boston does have to be a bit wounded mentally by the way that they let this game slip away. But again, they have the experience on that sideline to put that behind them and realize they win a face-off, which they probably will with Chris Eck, and they've got a chance to win this with 1 possession. But Ohio, if they get the ball, they are cooking with gas right now. Everything seems to be going their way. They're winning their matchups. Peter Baum finally finding his explosion. We saw Wilbur get that 2-pointer. That was really the difference right there. That's why we love this sport and this game and this league, because of that 2-point arc. No lead is truly safe, and I still can't get over the degree of difficulty of that goal from Schreiber.
Schreiber, the first-round pick out of Princeton, 22 years old. Quiet up until that point, but he dodged around Brent Adams, who I'm sure will hear it from the coaching staff, because
he can't do much though. That's an all-world type play. I mean, imagine he's about 200 pounds. He's running full speed. He's got to stop at that crease, and then the ability to stop and roll back. You see in football, basketball, it's that freakish change of direction, and Adams, all he can do is sit there and watch.
The stop on the dime play, which you see so many great running backs do.
Exactly.
Barry Sanders perfected it for the Detroit Lions way back.
Most important thing for Dattilo to do right here is just tie up Chris Eck. If you can't win it, do not allow a fast break. That would be the easiest opportunity for Boston to win this game. If Eck can just push this ball forward, get a fast break, find Manny at the point. Game plan.
10 minutes of overtime, Boston and Ohio. Machine won late last year against the Cannons. Their only win in the 5-game series thus far is Machine expansion team in 2012. Boston has taken 4 of the 5 matchups, including earlier this year. So it's Eck and Dattilo, and Eck wins. Timeout. Timeout, John Tucker after the face-off win. Do you like the timeout?
I was just thinking that, John. I'm not sure. I can see it from both angles. In a college game, I kind of understand it because you're dealing with younger kids, but depending on the personnel you had on the field, if you had to sub guys in, I wasn't exactly sure we had on the wing. I was focused on that faceoff-X. I kind of like when they just let them play, because I truly think that game winners come off of unsettled situations. Yep. Whether it's a rebound off a shot or a guy slips and he gets a good look. Rarely do we see a timeout, they run this perfect play, and a guy gets a great look and they score. It's often somebody makes a mistake, there's a breakdown defensively, and I think those happen more often when you just let it play, or you let the sort of the transition and early offense ensue.
I'm with you. I thought that was a perfect opportunity for the Cannons to capitalize in transition. Eck was wide open, had a lot of room to roam, but we'll see if it pays off for John Tucker.
Now, this is a high lacrosse IQ offensive huddle here, but the flip side is Ohio now gets a chance to really dial in what they do last time. How do we close out the game? What should we do now? Do we shut off Rabel right now? Do we take him out of this play? How do we want to guard Buchanan? They can verbalize all of those things, reiterate all those things in the huddle, and now they're fresh. When you're finding guys coming off of a face-off win, you can lose and lack discipline.
So it'll be Buchanan, Rabel, Emery, Will Manny, Stephen Berger, and Ryan Boyle on the offensive end for the Cannons. Rabel's got it. Rabel just outside the arc. Buchanan unloads, deflected out of bounds. Good idea, but an errant shot. Re-trigger for Boyle. 45 on the Boston shot clock. Just underway in overtime. John Mita Perel alongside Evan Washburn. Thanks for joining us, the U2 MLL Game of the Week. Here's the shot, goes wide by Emery. It'll be Boston ball. Rabel approaching Wilbur. Emery up top, Buchanan. Now Rabel. Inside, Berger had a chance, wide of Phipps. Boston has had their
Quality
chances.
looks, John. They're getting a lot of good looks here.
Yep. Emery dodging on Alexander. Sliding effectively is Wilbur. Now Berger flips it inside, couldn't connect with Manny. Boy, Manny had a wide open net, he just couldn't get the hot pass.
That's a pass. Phipps did a nice job coming out of his cage, knocking that pass down. That was not a shot. This should be Ohio ball.
Agreed. Roy Kahn and the crew chief trying to sort it out. But it's Boston ball. It's a break. Rabel up top. Buchanan now back to Rabel. Finds Manny. He fires. Goal! Boston wins! Will Manny completes a tremendous night with his 5th of the evening. Terrific, precise passing by the Cannons as they dominate. 1 minute 47 seconds into overtime, and what a huge win for the Cannons.
Big time play from Paul Rabel, dodges with his head up. Manny drops his stick low, changes levels off the bouncer. I'd love to see the previous play to see if that was actually a shot, because from my perspective up here, it looked like Phipps came out of his cage and sort of deflected that pass. It went out of bounds. Maybe they're saying it's off of Phipps. I'm just curious how Boston was able to retain possession. Either way, they win this ball game and they survive.
The Boston Cannons Game of the Week is powered by Boston Sports Performance Center, where performance has no limits. BSPC is a premier sports performance, physical therapy, and sports medicine center serving the Boston and Metro West communities.
This team was a fun team to watch, led by head coach John Tucker, Hall of Fame player out of Johns Hopkins University. He had this team rolling on all cylinders, offensively, defensively. Hi Cannons fans, Sean Quirk here, head coach of the Boston Cannons, reminding you to tune in each Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the Boston Cannons YouTube channel for the Game of the Week.